we come down through our distribution system, many people would refer to this as a header line or as a manifold, the major piece of plumbing here with the additional devices coming off of that. So this particular header line is rated at about 56 pounds per square inch, and that's sufficient for most systems. The second header line that some people will use is referred to as lay flat header line, and when it's not in use, the water drains out and it lays flat. This is also higher rated. This can withstand pressures around 65 pounds per square inch and is somewhat like a fire hose. It's a braided, stranded material with the rubber coating on the inside and outside. This also takes a little bit different type of a fitting and some special tools to be able to use it. We'll come back to that in just a minute. So again, back to our standard system, we've got 3/4 inch header line, and everything in this particular kit is matched to work with that 3/4 inch header line. Clear on down to this device, which is one of the ways that we can close off the header line. This literally slides on to the end of the header line and is permanently attached that way. No glue, no sealer. It's a compression type fitting, so it holds on and has a screw-on cap that goes on the end of it, so we can take that screw-in cap off whenever we need to drain the system and let the water drain out. Another way to close off the header line is a little bit primitive by comparison, but it works very well. We can literally bend over the end of the header line, kink it tightly so it pinches off the ability for water to flow through it. And as you see, I've just got regular black plastic tape. Go around a couple of times, hold it there, and then cut it off. And we have closed off the header line. Again, very inexpensive, easy way to do this, as opposed to buying the cap to go on the end of the header line. We can do the same thing with our drip lines when we get there. So going on through the progression here, the next item that we'll do is show you how to install a valve in the header line. Here we've got a valve installed, shut-off capabilities. Over here is just a connector without shut-off capabilities. So to install the valve in the system, we have another little tool. Every manufacturer has a little variation. This particular one is almost like a hole saw. We've pre-punched a hole in our manifold over here using our little hole saw. Now we're going to install a shut-off valve for an individual line of drip tape. We take the valve, literally push it into the hole. You guys heard it snap in there. And then we run the jam nut back up against it. It's securely attached. And then we would attach our drip tape over here as we've already done here. As an alternative, if we're using the more, what I think of as a more commercial grade of tubing for our manifold header, we have different fittings. We've pre-punched a hole in this one, and the fitting gets installed a little bit differently. Can be challenging sometimes. Here we've got the advantage of being able to reach inside, but if you've got a 300-foot distribution tape, you have to feed everything in through the hole that you punched in the side of the tape. We've got our piece installed, and then we screw the valve on just like we did on the 3/4 inch line. And again, to be complete here, the tool that we've used for that is again more of a commercial grade tool, and we had pre-punched it there. The advantage of this type of manifold or distribution line over the rigid plastic is once the pressure drains out, then we've got a flat, flexible material that we could drive a tractor or potentially a lawnmower or a garden cart over the top of without doing any damage to it. At the end of the season, we can drain the water out of this, roll it up on a reel, use it again next year. This rigid pipe doesn't give us those options. If we run over this with a tractor or the wheel of anything, we're probably going to mash it flat, crack the tubing, then have to replace that piece and start over. So moving on to the business end, we've got our supply coming in. We've got a control valve where we can turn it off and on. Now let's talk about drip tape a little bit. Drip tape, again, can come in lots of different configurations. This kit, the drip tape is reduced to work with 5/8 inch couplers and connectors. And I hope you can see them in the video. Between my fingers here is a slight depression right in the middle of the drip tape. This depression actually has a tiny little hole in the middle of it. That is what we are calling the emitter. And those can be spaced in this pre-manufactured tape anywhere from about 4-inch spacings, 4 inches between them, on up to 6 inches, 8 inches. I've seen them as much as 24 inches apart. So the emitters are where the business takes place, where the water comes out to reach the plant. So as an alternative to the very inexpensive, thin, one-time use drip tape, products similar to this are readily available. This one most people would refer to as orchard tubing. It's more of a permanent type of insulation is what it's intended for. It's taking a step towards a commercial application, if you will. You can see the emitter hole in the middle of this tape, and it's just an option that's out there, something you may encounter. I have seen this in several of the big box stores, and it's pretty readily available. So now we need to move on to getting the water from the filter to the manifold or the header and connecting the header to that filter. In between, we've likely got a garden hose or some other distribution line.